Welcome in, Maddie. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. What's going on, Tariq? What's going on? What's going on? What's up, Roger? What's up, Jason? If anyone can just make sure, appreciate that, Maddie. That's exactly what I was gonna make sure. I don't know why it does that sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't. Really weird. PSTG is going ham after hours. Oh, earnings. Makes sense. I know Tom's all over earnings. I know there's actually a list for earnings as well tomorrow that I was actually looking at. I was gonna go through those names as well. I believe Dare actually reports in the morning as well. That's another name. But by the way, welcome in everyone that just joined in. I know that Dare actually reports in the morning, so that's another one. I'll probably keep an eye on that one. Let me actually peep real quick. Let me see what did PSTG do. Oh, they're up about $4 and change. Not bad. I know that was a never-ending. Oh, that was a beautiful cup and handle. That's what it was. Oh, I'll look at that chart after. We'll take a look at it. I'll take a peep at Pure Storage after. But let's dive in real quick. Let's get through the tickers. I'll go through some requested tickers and get us ready for tomorrow. Today was a little bit of a dumpster fire to really kick off the day. That was a little bit crazy. Uh, Yesterday we saw we had that massive pump out of Jerome Powell. Then we pretty much just gave it all back in a swift action, and we just went red to green and literally in a blink of an eye yesterday. Today they literally just decided to flush us out the gate, and we didn't have much to really go off of towards the lunch hours. If you saw, it really died out. The price action really felt like it slowed down on that sell off. And then we actually got that little bit of a rebound towards the afternoon in which you saw us calling out a little bit of a few plays. I was looking at, well, Dapper was looking at Disney first, that I remember. I was taking a look at Amazon. That was a beautiful one. And then Avery literally sniped the bottom out of Tesla on that recovery into close. So a lot of beautiful plays that we had today. I was literally on Tesla from the start on that sell-off because I expected 1200 to really be that mental number in which they weren't going to try and retest that 1200. It was really going to be a sell-off. You know, that name has really been just one that's just continued to go higher and higher. And I knew that the day that it would have a red day, it would be pretty much what I expected today. It would be $100 move pretty much down. So that was a beautiful move that we got down on Tesla. That was literally the chart, the first chart that I pulled up on live. So that was a beautiful one. And so we'll see what Tesla really gives for us tomorrow. But diving in real quick on Futes, as you see, I'm looking at Nasdaq Futes. We have a little bit of a descending channel formation here. So I do want to see if we're going to continue to remain in the channel as we're at resistance of that channel. If we're going to end up getting that leg down towards the support level in which we pretty much just follow the trend on this downtrend basically. Or do we end up getting the breakout here? I do have a little bit of a fib here set at 16,348. We'll see if we get that breakout. I also had a little bit of a zone here that I wanted to see us get out of. So that would take us above 16,375. So I'm going to look at those two key levels. We'll see if we end up getting a push. I know that some are a little bit more higher on tech in general. And then there's majority, probably about 20% of the population in premium chat that's probably holding Apple puts overnight. So it's a little bit mixed. As you see, tech is pretty much just taking a little bit of a heat in the after hours here. But we want to see how that develops by morning. Do we end up changing, just flipping the script here by morning, and we get a nice little gap up? So that'll be the determining factor. But just know right now you're pretty much right at resistance. So probably by midnight or so here, that'll likely pick a direction for us for the morning hours. All right, switching over real quick would be S&P. Probably have to go out to about the 4 hour, give you a little bit of the formation of what I'm looking at. And this was basically our ascending, broadening wedge here that we had. Originally, I had this orange line here, and that was our support. And so when we had this little bit of a sell-off, I'm pretty much debating here is if this is the new support in which the buyers pretty much just stepped in and we go north going tomorrow, or if we end up rejecting here in which this will be the retest and then we end up breaking down. So that's why you see I have two different support levels right now. So this was my initial one that I had pretty much for the past few weeks, that orange line, in which we broke down and we would technically be testing resistance. But that's when I want to see if we're able to reclaim that orange line of support that's now resistance, in which that'll be make this broadening wedge even broadener. All right, if that's the word, broadener. Okay, so let's see exactly what it does tomorrow if we end up rejecting and holding within a larger broadening wedge, or if that was really just the uniform wedge right here that we have between that orange line and the upper green line. All right, so we'll see if we end up breaking down. Two key levels we'll be watching here: breakdown under 46.51, and then if we end up reclaiming over 47.08. So those are the two levels I'll be watching for the up and or under, and then we'll play the trend given tomorrow. All right, going into some tickers here real quick. I was watching Amazon. Of course, this is the one that I pretty much was watching into close here today. Let's see. Yeah, the one now where it looks fine. So this is what pretty much what I was watching today was this falling wedge action that we had. So that's when I was pretty much saying that I believe it was 35.66. I was calling for the breakout on Amazon right into about 2 to 3 o'clock today. And then I was saying that we would take profits at 35.70, and then it broke over the 35.70, and I was targeting towards 35.90, 94, I said. So those are the two key levels. So basically what I'm going to be mentioning today is that I want to see continuation going into tomorrow. So I do want to see if we end up getting that push towards that 3600 mark. That's really the mental number here. And then if we end up getting over that 3600, then I'm looking at 3619. So those are the two key levels that I'm watching here. And of course, Gaston is in here, so he would be a bear, just saying that everything is going to crash tomorrow. So let's see what Amazon does tomorrow. 3600 is really the mental number. We get over that 3600 level, then it's likely that we're going to push towards that 3619, and then we'll evaluate how much higher it can go there by morning, depending upon how much we end up gapping up. Another level you probably be watching too is also 3633. I can throw that one out there as well. But let's see what it does tomorrow morning. I'll definitely be all over Amazon come market hours in the morning there. Another one is Google. And I do need to stretch out time frame here to show Google. I know that Avery was pretty bearish on Google, and I think it looks a little better probably on the 30-minute, does it? What time frame did I have this? Probably looks a little better on. All right, yeah, it looks a little better on the 4 hour. Keep it a little uniform. So we had a little bit of a rising wedge type action here, and as you see, we ended up breaking down the support level, touched that wick, and then right on the retest that we ended up having on that green candle. So we ended up getting the retest here, so that's what I'm going to be watching for the rejection that we're seeing right now, and then it should follow suit to go back down. And so I'll be watching for a level. Target level would be 28.22. That'll be where I would look to target and take my profits. But basically know that this one has actually broken trend. Like I showed you yesterday on Microsoft, that one actually broke trend. This is the same formation here. You're getting that flash breakout right here. And if I actually flash back to Microsoft yesterday, which I pretty much called that out on live, if you remember, I ended up showing you the ascending channel. And I literally just showed you exactly what was in this yellow zone right here. We had that one little candle just showing the break of the trend. And we ended up getting a $5 move to the downside yesterday. So this is where you see that I'm showing you Google as well on this time frame, is that you see that one candle, you see the beautiful retest, so it should follow the downtrend right towards that 28.22 level, or 28.33 level, I mean. All right, so let's keep an eye on that one tomorrow. Another one is Netflix. Netflix was a beautiful one that ended up breaking out uh, towards the late in the day here. I wanted to see it, but then I ended up catching it on this little bit of a pennant action, so I saw it was still a little bit range bound. And so I'm going to be watching for this one to break out of this pennant. If I zoom out here, you see that pennant action a little bit more defined here. And so I'm going to be watching this one to see if it ends up breaking out above this wick here, above that 655 level. We'll see it end up getting a breakout here. First target would be 658. Then I'm looking towards 663, and then ultimately I'm looking towards 666. So those are the three levels I'll be watching on Netflix. But most importantly, you want to see the break of this little wedge pennant that you want to say here. And more than likely, I would say that this is usually a bear pennant because you have basically a flagpole going down, in which case it should be the breakout should be within that trend, in which it should be symmetrical to exactly the length of this candle right here. So that's typically how that pattern would play out, just so you're aware. But given the fact that we're already oversold, it's likely that we're going to end up getting a bounce. I know that Netflix is also in talks about some kind of news with Spotify as well. So I do expect a reversal on this one. It could play either direction. That's why it's still in the wedge. But keep an eye on that one. If it ends up breaking down, I do have the zone here in which we pretty much once we get under 649, then it's likely going to get bloody and we can fill this wick down towards 646. All right, so keep an eye on those. Next one was Lulu. I just wanted to throw this one out here. It was a little bit of a falling wedge type action that I was watching. Probably looks a little bit better on the 30-minute. Yeah, it does. Looks more uniform on the 30 minutes. We also have a little bit of a falling wedge action. Looks like we're flashing a breakout right here. As you see, we're crossing the trend line. Let's see if we actually get a breakout on this one as well. First targets will be 464, and over that will be 466. All right, so those will be two that I'll be watching on Lulu. I think that'll probably be easy one. It's usually an under the radar type of play. So for those of you that like to play, the low key names, this will be one of those. I did have NVDA here. Not certain why I actually put NVDA, but it was primarily, I think, because of the break of the downtrend here. That's what I was looking to play. Was the break of the downtrend. We had that nice push right into the close here. So actually, I wanted to play this one towards that 323 mark. So that's really what I was watching on that one, is the 323. I don't expect it to get over 323 because this one's already, even though it's already dropped as much as it has, there's a lot more downside on this one. I will be playing basically the short bounce if the market is green and we gap up tomorrow morning. So that's what I would say about this one. But 323 was the short side target if we continue to bounce. Otherwise, you're looking at more downside once we cross under 309. Okay, so that's how I would look at Nvidia. Another one was coin. I know that we also had the Super Fortuna that went off on Bitcoin to say that it was bullish. So that would actually play a little bit in factor to crypto for coin. I mean, so let's watch this one. A little bit of an inverted head and shoulders action. We saw that breakout of the neckline, a little bit of a retest. So I'll be looking at two different targets here, looking at 321 and then looking towards 325. So that's just one to keep on the back of your mind. Make sure to keep an eye on Bitcoin tomorrow morning, and then we'll see how this one gets a nice little continuation out of this little breakout that we have here. And then just last ticker was just McDonald's. I know that Tom actually pointed this one out to me. It had a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders action right here. You see that left shoulder, you see the head, and that right shoulder as it made its little breakout here. So I'll keep an eye on this one. If I stretch out the chart, you also had a little bit of a falling wedge action prior to this inverted head and shoulders. But now we're setting up to test the highs here in which we're going to trend towards 257.53, and we'll see if we end up making a new high there. So that'll be the last one I pretty much point out on that list there. I think the two low-key names that probably no one's really going to look at would be Lulu and McDonald's, and then watch it pretty much moon. So that's usually how it ends up happening. You see the setup, and then you pretty much go right after the most popular names that are out there. So let's see what it does tomorrow. Other than that, that was pretty much my list. I'll take two charts from you guys, and then we'll pretty much call it a night here. And of course, Izzy's always late to the party. Let me take a look. Someone said Rivian real quick. Let me see. What does Rivian look like? That literally just looks like a hard reversal right now. I haven't played this one since I was chasing it towards the top, and I actually did bank on this one. That was a beautiful play. Let's see if there's any kind of setup this one is showing. So one thing is pretty much identified right here is that you have a hard level of resistance. So you're looking like you had a little bit of a double top type formation here at 124. So that's really holding you down right there. Unless you break that 124, you're definitely range bound. And the other thing is too is that you have a very defined support level. So as you see, you have pretty much a ascending triangle. But I would say that this is a bearish ascending triangle because it's not in an uptrend form. You're on the downtrend. So keep that in mind. So once you break under this level right here, under 115.81, it's likely that it's going to continue to roll over. And this was one that from peak here, they pretty much said that it was already overvalued. It overtook, I don't know, X amount of names that it took over, like 5 or 6 names that were highly valued companies. And the market cap on Rivian at that price point, at the high, was literally just outrageous and beat all 6 of those companies. So I expect this one to get a little bit more closer to that $100 mark. So I would caution about that. But again, you're going to look for this one to get under that 115.80-ish level, and then it'll likely continue to regress downside. All right. You also have that gap to complete here, so we'll likely get down towards that 98 level, 98.60 level, in which I said you probably get closer to the $100 mark. All right. But I don't like that one. You're still in a downtrend, and it's a pretty uniformed ascending triangle, but that's a bearish one because it's in a downtrend. All right. Last one here I'll look at is CHPT. I believe that's a charging port. Yeah, it is. I just looked at the name. Let me see if I stretch out that chart. Let's see. I already had a resistance line. All right, that works out for me. So I was actually looking at this one, but it's looking like that coil is literally not going anywhere. It's just range bound right now. So that's one thing that I pretty much identified right there is that you're literally teetering that breakout in which it has not picked a direction just yet. Let me see a level of resistance going a flat line here in which there's been a key level in which we haven't been able to really cross. And it looks like it's right around here. So this would be that key level where I would say that you would look for that breakout. It would be close enough to that over that 30-30 mark. That would be really where you want to see this really explode. But right now it seems like you're very range bound. Of course, you want to see it get over the wick here of 28.72. If you can't get over that wick of 28.72, then you're definitely not going to be able to get over to the major breakout over that 30-30 mark. All right, so that would be what I would tell you for that. As far as downside here, I'm pretty sure you can pretty much identify here, but you're looking under 25.40. You're looking at this continuing to break down, and which is going to give back a portion of this little uptrend that it started. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that one, but I don't really see anything here. I'll probably send an alert right here over the 30 mark. I think that's going to be the major breakout. If you don't get that move over that major breakout level, then it's not really going to do anything. But I do have an alert set on it, literally, so I'll see if it ends up breaking over that 30 mark, and then that's when I'll pay attention to it. All right. Last one, and I'm pretty sure Tom has charted Eli Lilly probably about 50 million times, but you have a uniform cup and handle. I mean, it's basically as simple as that. It's a beautiful little cup and handle that he has. You want to see it get over that wick of 270.80, but the biggest thing about Eli Lilly again is that they have a lot of catalysts. So it can either go either way. When there's a catalyst, even though TA usually aligns up with a catalyst, it's usually the fact that either it's going to be good or bad. If their trials are bad, then the stock is literally going to probably tank. If their trials are good, then yes, it's going to go in your favor. So it can go either way, basically, is what I would say. It's purely catalyst based. So that's one thing that you really want to pay attention to. Even though I understand the setup is there, of course, it's primed to go higher. There is a catalyst that's in play here. So if that catalyst does not play in favor, that's basically where your downside is going to lie. All right, so I definitely just want to put that out there for you guys. But as far as the chart setup, that is just a textbook chart setup. Great find by Tom. And I'm hoping that it ends up playing out and it fills that wick and we get a nice little breakout in which you also have another wick here to fill up to the top here of 275.87. So keep that in mind. Just want to point that out. The catalyst is really the play here on Eli Lilly, not necessarily the chart setup itself. All right. But other than that, I'll call it a night here. I'm hoping that we do get a little bit of a rebound tomorrow. That would really set us up nicely going into the holiday week. Because if we end up flushing going into the holiday week, it's likely going to set up to drag out to continue going into Friday, and Friday's really probably going to be a drag. So let's see if we end up getting the bounce tomorrow, and we'll play it out come Friday. Reminder: Thursday the markets are closed, and then also Friday is a half a day. If I'm not mistaken, markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern. I can double check that, and of course we'll have updates in the premium chat as well. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to do same week expiration, again, don't go crazy out of the money because data will continue to eat you alive. So I definitely want to point that out to you. Other than that, I think that'll wrap it up for tonight, and I'll see you guys on live tomorrow morning. And of course, I'll be looking at Amazon and Tesla. That'll probably be the priority that I look at, just because those tickers are so much more fun to play, drastic moves, and just a lot of liquidity. All right. So let's see what tomorrow gives us, and then we'll go from there, then, guys. All right. You guys have a good weekend. If I probably don't see you guys tomorrow on live here, you guys have a great Thanksgiving. But other than that, tomorrow is a full day, Maddie. Tomorrow is a full day. Thursday we're off, and then Friday is a short day. All right. So again, those of you I probably don't catch on live here tomorrow, have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys on Friday. But those of you that will be here on live,